Hey guys, and welcome to the Farm and Pastor's Wife. Today we're going to make what I call tomato sauce and meatballs. A lot of people call it tomato gravy. I've just always called it tomato sauce. So you say tomato, I say tomato. You say tomato gravy, I say tomato sauce. So we're going to have tomato sauce and meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs basically, tonight for supper. Tonight is prom night for Isaac, so he won't be here. We're going to go with him and his girlfriend and take some pictures. And then we'll come back here and have spaghetti and meatballs. Now, Caroline's favorite part will come tomorrow if there's any leftovers, when we have meatball subs. So, that being said, let's get started. It's kind of a process. It takes several hours to get good and together. So, we're going to get started. So, thank you for watching. Come on, we're going to make tomato sauce. Okay, guys, so with our tomato sauce, one of the first things I'm going to do is, do y'all remember the pork lard I rendered out? This is it. So, I'm going to take a big dollop of the pork lard and I'm going to saute some onions up in my pan. I cannot find my lid to my pot. So this lid does not go with it, but it fits. So it works. So I'm just going to take a good little dollop of lard. And we're going to turn the burner on, get it going. I have sliced up chopped up two medium onions here. I've already went ahead and chopped it up. I usually like a little more onion, and I may cut up some green onion later on, but this may be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape that over in here. I'm not going to use the knife. I'm going to use my hand. I can control it a little better. Alright, so we're going to get those sauteed. In the meantime, let me give you a little tip. I just dealt with the onions on my hands. Do y'all know how to get the smell off of your hands? Well, I've heard about rubbing your hand on the faucet. I do it just because everybody says to do it. But if you take coffee grounds, like fresh coffee grounds, or probably even used coffee grounds, and wash your hands with the coffee grounds, the onion smell's gone. Okay guys, so while my onions are sauteing over here, I'm just opening up 4 cans of crushed tomatoes. I get these at Aldi and they're wonderful. They serve the purpose. I'm gonna, oops, I did this one upside down. Alright, and after I pour the tomatoes up in the pot, I'm going to put like an inch of water, or maybe a little bit more, in each can and swish it around just to get some good stuff out. Plus you need a little liquid, you need a little water in here anyway. Now, if you wanted to put a piece of bacon or a piece of ham, I mean, I guess you could saute your onions with the bacon, or, I don't know, a piece of pork loin, or just a piece of pork fat, or whatever, fat back. I just happen to have my rendered pork lard, so I thought I would use that. And you want to really caramelize these onions to get the flavor out. If I feel like I need more at the end, I'll just add green onions because I'm out of onions and only had 2 little small ones left. Alright, I'll bring you back when it's time to pour these in. Okay guys, so I'm pouring my tomato sauce in now. I walked away from my onions for a little bit and that was not good. So my onions got a little bit too dark. But that's okay. I'm just hoping it adds flavor. Now you don't want, with tomatoes going in here, you don't want to keep anything on high because tomatoes are just easy to scorch on the bottom. And so I turn it down. Or I have, yeah, I have. All right, and I'm going to end up putting about a half a can of water. Not in each one. I'm going to put a little bit in each one, but a total of probably a half. We may come back and add more later. And if you can stand to look at my dirty sink, this is how I do it. I just swish some water around in this can. And I go back and forth. And then I make a mess like I just did. And I'll get these cans. Okay, so it ends up being just a little bit more than half a can of water. I guess it's almost a can of water. A little shy of a can of water. Okay, so I've added that. I would feel safe with saying a half a can of water. You may regret a whole one. Then I'm going to put in 2 cans of tomato paste. I'm not a huge fan of tomato paste, so I think sometimes I just do 1. And in fact, I think I'm going to stop with 1. It's up to you. You do what you think. I'm going to stop with start with 1 to begin with, and then just wait and see. And I'm just going to let this simmer for just a little bit and get the onion flavor all in it. Let the tomato paste dissolve. So it takes a little while for it to simmer. And y'all, a good little tip that I always do. I have a plate sitting next to my sauce, either on the stove. That's not really a safe place to put it, so probably on my cabinet would be a safer place to put the plate. But just somewhere where I can lay the spoons, and in fact, let's move it over here. Just so I don't have tomato sauce all over my stove, all over my cabinets. It's on a plate that I can either throw away if it's a paper plate or wash if it's a plate. Alright, I'm just going to let that simmer for just a little bit, and we'll come back and check it. We may add, I've got little black specks in here. It's my onions, where I burnt my onions. But I didn't dare take them out because that's all I had. And so I'm hoping it was just a few of them, because a lot of them were off to the side and didn't burn. Never walk away. That is like the #1 thing, and I did. And I knew better. Alright, so we're going to let this simmer for just a little bit. I may add another can of crushed, just because I want a lot of sauce. So I may add another can of tomatoes. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I think I am. Just because I want a lot of sauce with my meatballs. Because I'm doing 2 pounds of meat in my meatballs. So, let's get out another can. which means I'll probably add that other tomato paste. I'm still going to hold off on that until I check it a little bit. Y'all, if you've watched the corn salad video, I'll try to link it down below. It's a big video. We did a giveaway. It's a long video. But I said I would let everybody know how the Fritos did as a leftover. They lost their crunch. They became kind of soggy. Or not soggy. They just lost their crunch. They're still, you know, together. They're not like nasty soggy. But the flavor is still delicious in that corn salad. It's still very, very good. So, okay, no more than this can because I still have room to. I gotta have room to put my meatballs, and they will expand. I'll add just a little bit more water. All right. Alright, I'm just going to let this get good and warm, and then we'll come back, we'll add seasoning, we'll add some sugar, and we'll check to see if we need this other can of tomato paste, but if not, we'll just go ahead and add our seasonings, and then just let it sit and simmer, and then when we come back, after that, then we'll make the meatballs, so hang tight. Okay guys, it's gotten good and warm and it's kind of bubbling on the top. I stir it to be sure it's not sticking at the bottom. Tomatoes, I don't know why it's so easy to stick at the bottom. But anyway. So, we're going to put in our seasoning now. Now, let me tell you before I even start with the seasoning, it's one of those things that you come back and you taste and you see if you think it needs more or if you think it needs less. So, I'm going to give you measurements, but I may come back in and change it. So, let me find a 1/4 of a cup measuring cup. Alright, so we're going to put a 1/4 of a cup of sugar in here to start with. Now, we'll probably come back and add more. That's not so much, you know, you hear sugar cuts the acidity. It's not so much for that. It's just I like a little bit of sweetness to my spaghetti sauce. Not a lot. I don't want it overpoweringly sweet, but just a little bit. So we're starting with the 1/4 of a cup. We may add more. Salt. We're going to add salt. I had changed to pink Himalayan salt, but now that the cannon days are upon us, or soon to be upon us, I'm going to get some regular salt. I'm going to start with a little less than, no, let's see. I'm going to start with, let's do 2 teaspoons of salt. And then we can always add more. There again, always go less. We can always add more if needed. Now, I don't ever measure these ingredients because I always just pour them in the palm of my hand. So I'm going to try measuring them for you guys. But like I said, these measurements may change, so write it down as I go. Say 1 tablespoon of parsley, she comes back, she adds another tablespoon. So I'm going to put in a heaping tablespoon of parsley. A tablespoon of Italian seasoning. A light tablespoon of basil. Remember, we can always add more. And a tablespoon of garlic powder. And always make sure it's powder, not salt. Or if it is salt, then lighten up on your salt. Now, I'm also going to drive home the garlic punch by adding some minced garlic. Let me get a spoon. I'm just going to put in a good spoonful of garlic. Y'all, that just totally changed the whole smell. It smells so good in here. Alright, so I'm going to let this keep simmering for just a little while. Let the flavors meld together really good. Then I'm going to come taste it. I'll probably need to add more salt because I know I probably went light on the salt. And I may need to add more sugar. I believe everything else is going to be fine. The salt and sugar are the two I'm questioning. So, we will check it in a little bit. Okay guys, let's taste it and see what it needs. Let me stir it first, hold on. Woo. Now this stuff is hot. Hot. Hey Isaac, will you come here and taste this? And taste this and see if it needs anything? Yep. Hang on, Isaac's gonna taste it. I think it tastes good. But I'm going to have him taste it. There you go. Be over here where they can see you. Now blow it. It's hot. Do you hear me telling him to blow it? It's hot. Like he's like my little boy. Blow it. It's hot. Turn around.
I think it's good.
Does it need salt? Does it need sugar?
It could be a little sweeter. Just a touch.
A touch more sugar. So, let's put 1/8 of a cup. How'd y'all like that? Y'all that know I have struggled with measurements. 1/2 of a 4th. 1/8 of a cup. Really, I may be totally wrong. And I'm over here bragging on myself. Y'all that watch my channels know that I struggle with math and measurements. Okay, so I added just a little bit more sugar. I think it's good otherwise. So now we add one more thing. Okay, here's what else we add. Italian sausages. And I always get the hot just because there's more flavor in it, and I add the hot. And I cut each one into thirds. Let me down here. Bye. Hey, but you'll be back. Yeah, because you gotta get ready.
Yeah.
He's got prom tonight, so he's going to, I guess, clean his truck. Now this is not, it's in a casing. So I'm just cutting it either in half or thirds. Normally I do thirds. And the reason I cut it is to get the flavor out into the sauce. And I'm gonna do, I think 3 of these. And then it's terribly wasteful, but I don't know that I ever do anything with the other ones. I think I did fry them up for breakfast one day. Now these are not the meatballs. These will be, we'll spoon these out if you can tell them apart from our meatballs. Sometimes they look like the meatball. Okay, so I have put 3 of these hot Italian sausages. I've cut them into thirds and they are going in. And now my sauce is going to simmer some more, and I'm just going to keep it stirred. So now the next thing is to make our meatballs. And so we'll do that in just a little bit. Okay guys, let's go ahead and make the meatballs, because once I drop those in, they simmer in the tomato sauce. They still have to cook. They have to simmer for an hour and a half. And I gotta get ready to go take prom pictures, and so we gotta get it in. Normally I would let that cook a little bit longer by itself. So in my bowl here I have about 2 pounds of ground beef. It's 80-20, I think. Let's bring it over here where you can see. And hopefully my tripod will work right today. Now, I cannot give you good measurements on this. This is just kind of based on whatever you think. Now, I have watched several videos on tomato sauce, and they're all about the same. I would say the one mine is closest to, it's almost identical to, is She's in Her Apron. And Kimmy on She's in Her Apron. It is almost identical to hers. In fact, the things I did differently, I switched up a little bit and tried hers and liked part of hers better. I just don't measure anything. And so let's start with garlic. And I'm going to be pretty heavy on the garlic. And this is 2 pounds, so that was a good tablespoon, and I'm going in probably with another tablespoon. A good tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Maybe not all of that. Alright. Lots of parsley. I may even use a little bit more. I've got a new container here of parsley. That one's actually greener. Okay. Let's go in with the breadcrumbs. Now I do measure this. I do about a cup. Whoops, I dropped the lid. I do a cup per pound of hamburger. I know that Kimmy on her, she does pork chops in the bottom of her. You know, I mentioned maybe doing the bacon, where I just use the pork lard. I think she does pork chops in the bottom. That'd be good. I bet that pork chop is really good when it's over with to eat. Alright, so 2 eggs. And you could beat these eggs up before you throw them in there. I tell you what, I'm gonna have to take my rings off because I go in with my hands. Alright, so y'all remind me my rings are off. Alright, and a good amount of Parmesan cheese. Good amount. I would say half of this container. This is an 8-ounce container. And I keep adding. So, now, how many breadcrumbs did I put? Did I put 2 cups? Yeah, I guess. Alright. So I break up my eggs first, just to get that over with. And you just go in. There's no better way to do it than with your hands. You can try to do it with a spoon if you're that squeamish. But it doesn't bother me, so. And you just want to get your seasonings mixed up. You don't want to have like a big mouthful of garlic and somebody have to bite into that big mouthful of garlic. I may have put too much Parmesan. It's a little stiff. Now this is 80-20 hamburger. Alright, y'all, I'm just going in to be sure I've got it all mixed up. Alright, so then I'm just going to take little balls, roll them about golf ball size, and I want plenty, so I'm not going to go any bigger than that, but that's like a perfect golf ball size right there. I want a bunch of these because they do shrink down. I guess we could go a little bit larger, not much though. They will shrink down, but I want plenty of meatballs to have for meatball subs. So let's go. Let me wash my hands. We're going to go over here to the tomato sauce and we'll get started. Alright, I forgot to cut the camera off. Well, y'all got to hear me wash my hands. Alright. And we're just going to take those meatballs that we roll up and just drop them in there. And remember, you want to keep several meatballs because if you want to have leftovers like we do, we try to get 2 meals out of this. We have spaghetti and meatballs one day, and then we have meatball subs. The way I do my subs is I take my sub rolls, I cut them open, I put them on a bread pan, and I broil them while I'm heating my sauce and meatballs back up. I broil them, get them good and toasty on the outside, and then I put a piece of pepper jack cheese on the bread, stick it back under the broiler just to get the cheese kind of melty, and then get that out and then put your meatball and sauce on it. I don't like a lot of sauce on mine because I don't like soggy bread, so I kind of drain my meatballs a little bit, but I put a little bit of the sauce. My son loves ranch dressing on it. I just do the cheese and the meatballs and a little bit of the sauce. So he's going to miss out on the spaghetti and meatballs, but hopefully, now tomorrow we have a busy day. So I don't know that we'll get home for lunch, so this may be another late supper. Like the spaghetti and meatballs is going to be a late supper. So is the meatball subs may be a late supper. I don't know. We may get home for lunch, but I doubt it. We have a big event in Asheboro tomorrow, and our worship team is leading worship. And my nerves are shot. I'm just a small town girl. So anyway, I'm going to keep doing this and rolling my meatballs out and dropping them in. And then I'll take a spoon and be sure they're all pushed down good. And now this will create a little bit of grease because you're using 80-20. You want the 80-20 so it's good and moist and sticks together good. But it will cause a little bit of grease, so you just have to either find a way to skim it off or deal with it. I just deal with it. Everything about me's fat, so should my tomato sauce. I have what they call fatty liver. And they asked me if I was shocked that I had fatty liver. And I said, no. Everything else is fat. My liver should be fat too. But, no, I do, ever since I found that out, I do try to watch my fat intake. But then you see all these diets that are going around and they're all high fat. So, who knows anymore? I've never had any more problem out, with my liver. I think sometimes my blood work that comes back abnormal, even though it's abnormal to the standards, the national standards, I think sometimes they're my normals. And I'm just weird that way. So, alright, I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay guys, here is our spaghetti and meatballs. Bryant's fixing to fix his plate. Oh, he's digging into my plate.
Here it is. Voluptuous again.
There's that word again. If you haven't seen that video, you need to go back and check it out.
It's awesome. It's really good.
And look, it's so good we had to undress Judah, because he'll have it everywhere.
Make it little boys.
Caroline, is this your favorite meal?
Yes.
She begs for this. This is the one she asked me, is it on the videos? Because I need to know how to make it.
And it's even better the second day.
Jamie, do you like it?
I do.
I do. See, he's a man of few words.
What?
Caroline talks enough for both of them.
Amen.
Hey, Judabug! Alright, guys, we're digging into our spaghetti and meatballs. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for watching The Farm and Pastor's Wife. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss anything. And remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.